All right, so week 34, outlook number 2. Let's go ahead and start with the British pound futures per usual. So, as we discussed in the previous outlook, we have three scenarios. As we can see, the scenario in which we just got immediate continuation of bullish price action is the one that's playing out. And as expected, we are moving right towards the target that we have identified and been tracking for I would say, probably the past 3, 4, maybe even 5+ weeks of the outlooks on this pair. So, because of that, we know that this was a liquidity draw. It had a failed conversion to give the price action to move completely lower. And so, in the immediate area, how we would analyze this is effectively just price action being at the mercy of the raw price action. Like that's all that there is to it. I mean, the only thing that we could possibly say, which would be kind of reaching, but not, would be saying that there's inefficient pricing here, and that's what price decided to mitigate, rather than going for, let's say, inefficient pricing here, or anywhere lower. And so we could, I mean, but it really takes like a really sensitive or keen, like a trained eye to see something like that. Hence the reason why I was more inclined to be more, or I was more conservative with looking for opportunities much lower than the immediate area. I definitely was not seeing this in the immediate, especially in the making of the outlook. If I've probably done deeper analysis, possibly, but even then, that honestly would be like reaching for something. But nonetheless, that's exactly what price came back to mitigate, and as you can see, we are actually going higher from there. So we're still continuing on with the bullish trend. As you can see, we're creating highs and lows. But if we're looking at the immediate here, right, we can say that this is a low, this is a high, this is a low, this is a high, this is a low, this is a high. Then we have a liquidity draw of this low. Then we have, effectively we broke this high, but really the main thing is just looking at lows and highs here. And now we have low, high, low, and we're looking to create another high. But the main thing is that we are inching or moving towards this liquidity point. And I'm going to go out on, throw some skin in the game here, not financial advice. I am willing to bet that after we finally achieve this target, this is going to sell off and we're going to get back to the bearish program and finally start moving towards these lows here soon. That's my big bet. I could be completely wrong, but let's just have some fun here. I think that's what's going to happen. Like all of this price action, even from the monthly perspective, like looking at the monthly chart, which is, we're going to do that right here. But I know like a while ago, like maybe 10 plus outlooks ago, I told you guys in this area, it was either the monthly or the daily chart, I can't remember, but we were in a very consolidated area and price was battling between mitigate. Yeah, actually, what is this? We had created, we mitigated this inefficient pricing here, we ran this high here, and then we're pulling back and we're mitigating this price gap here. And from the other perspective, from the 4-hour and from the daily, we had showed all the price action that would show us that we would look for continuation lower. So we're actually in a very consolidated, very trade dense area on this pair. And so we're battling, if we are looking for shorting opportunities, we're battling against monthly structure. But looking at it from the 4-hour perspective, there is literally one last opportunity for the shorts to actually convert this entire market from bullish to bearish, and which the US dollar in this case would show strength. It would be showing strength because this is the pound. The pound gets stronger as we go up, and then the dollar gets stronger as we go down. And if that is the case, then this is pretty much the last area if we're looking at it as we do from the 4-hour perspective. There's quite literally, I mean, how I would look at it, there's basically no other opportunities for sells that I would see. Like everything else here is completely mitigated, as this is efficient price action as we descended lower, and we've only created the last liquidity pool, the meaningful liquidity pool, which are these relatively equal highs here. So once we reach those, we're going to see probably something crazy to either send us really high or start sending us lower and convert this market to bearish for real. All right, so that's what we're looking at on the pound futures. So I'm actually going to get rid of this. Get rid of this. We know what we're looking at. We know what the target is. And I'm going to leave this on here just for now, just so I have some sort of checkpoint. But that's what we're seeing on the pound futures. Now, for the NASDAQ, what I'm looking at here is we discussed last time the liquidity draw that occurred at this high, or actually the action that occurred, and we wanted to say it was a liquidity draw, and that's exactly what happened. And I explained that these liquidity pools higher would probably give much better responses to the price action than what would happen in the immediate here, just because the higher you go into premium, just think about it from this perspective. The higher you go into premium, the stronger the shorts are. The lower you go in discount, the stronger the buys are, and so on and so forth. The longs are. So effectively, we've reached a point in the premium side of this market that is very strong with shorts, as you can see by the response. And so because this response was so strong, not only did we validate the liquidity draw, but we also validated that there is most likely an area of interest in this area. But for me, it's not an area of interest yet. It's just inefficient pricing. One, we broke structure. And why is that? Because we broke structure here. We broke a low that created a high. So that's a break of structure. Not only that, but we broke really multiple levels of structure. We broke this low, we broke this low, but really it's not this low. It's this low, that's the low. And then we also ran this low here as well. But what we want to be cognizant of is the fact that this low was not broken in the form, like the action at this low was not a break of structure, it was a liquidity draw. Now, why is it a liquidity draw? Because we did not close with the body below the low of this candle. So because that is a liquidity draw, you can see that the price action is very sensitive or hesitant to move lower, hence the reason why we're getting this consolidation here. If this was a break of structure, we would have seen something like this. Why? Because we broke below the low, and that just gives way to say like, hey, the buyers or the longs are not really in this area. They've given up on this quote unquote level, and where price is going to move lower to where there are more buyers in the market. And hence, when we have the liquidity draw, that should be intent, or it should trigger to you that there are some sort of interest in that area if it is liquidity draw. Hence the consolidated area, the battling, and now we're seeing, will the buyers win? And that would be good, because if the buyers win, we'll pull back into filling all of this inefficient pricing after we broke structure here. And if it continues to move lower, then, well, we just wait for price to give us something better. But as of right now, what I'm expecting, or what analysis is pointing towards, is if this liquidity draw holds, we would be looking for a pullback to mitigate all of this inefficient pricing, pulling back to the origin of the move, which would be most likely this inefficient pricing. And then after we get mitigation, assuming that we get continuation, following the mitigation to move lower, we'll create some sort of area of interest to enter off of, and then continue to the downside back towards equilibrium, as we have not yet reached equilibrium of the range. All right, now on the Dow Jones, yep, I mean, pretty much similar, except we're just in the price leg. Not too much to say here. We haven't reached the discount. We're still messing around in the premium, and we just need to wait for more price action to persist. I mean, we have just raw price action. All right, so that's it for week 34, outlook number 2. Peace.